Hello everyone. I'm going to record this sketch process from this photograph here that I sent you all to just a croquis. So what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to utilize one of my own croquis from before. She's like that. She's very exaggerated, very long legs, and not exact pose, but pretty much the stance. So this is how you work with existing croquis. So I could see her faintly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to mark her shoulders, her head, and then I'm going to position her body on the page so I could roughly understand where everything is. So still here, hips, and I'm going to drop one leg down to the end of the page right here. And her other leg on my existing croquis is not as far out as it is on this one, so I'm going to take it further out. So I'm going to take it further out in position so it's more like the photograph. This represents my feet. So see, for the feet I do longer line that represents the arch and points down, and in this case they're high heels. Alright, so then I'm going to try to define the biggest shape on the page, which is her cape coat that we see. So it drops off the shoulder, about this angle, and there's an angle there, and then another angle that hangs in front of her knee and comes back to the shoulder, and then moves out with a little fold and drapes over the other knee this way, and then so I have my general shape. So once you have your shape, then I want to position that bag. It shows right about here, and her leg comes in this way, and her boot, the thickness, I'm just going to draw the thickness of her boot, how wide I think it is, and then they kind of meet each other, so the boot meets the cape. The cape, I'm coming back here, so I'm going to define her neck lightly, sketch it in lightly. She has a turtleneck on, so that's my line for the turtleneck, and where turtleneck is attached to the body. And then her collar, so her center line is a 3/4 pose, so the center line goes this way between the buttons and down to the front. So pit of her neck through the body into the middle. So it's double breasted, so center line is between the rows of buttons. So I'm going to drop this approximately kind of a low on her chest, so it's slanted, so the center line goes this way. Then I'm going to define her lapel, which is the trickiest part usually in a jacket or a coat. So you see how it raises behind her over there, and then there is a roll, and then it goes down the shoulder. There's a little curvature also here, and pretty straight here, and this is the seam where the top collar is attached to the lapel. So this is part of the front panel, and this is a separate collar that gets attached. So it's a really long lapel, that turns around the button where it's closed, and likewise on the other side, and you have to watch how it's positioned in space. So there is also a roll here and then along her shoulder, and then things get really short and small, and this is like a giant peak lapel, and then it rolls softly back in there. So back to here. So soft roll along her shoulder, then I'm repeating the geometry of the collar. This is attachment and the opening. It has to be symmetric, pretty even, so this it should equal that. You have to watch that, and then you have to kind of position where do we think the break is. It should be probably around here, and then right away try to draw the other side. It all fits into the silhouette, so it doesn't jut out and it's not inside, so it kind of schemes the general shape of it because it's in perspective, and so those lines need to get arranged. Also roll behind her neck, then drop down, then the opening, and it's really close to that edge over there. So lapels are one of the trickiest things in illustrations usually. So here I'm going to sketch in lightly where the button, where I think the buttons are, one here and one there. This is not closed on the first button, this is closed on second button, so second button is here, and it appears that the bottom buttons are closer together than the top. So this box needs to be really accurate. Right? And then this is the opening. And I'm going to connect the lapel. And there is soft roll that continues towards the button. Buttons are slightly bigger on coats than on jackets, so this is slightly bigger button. Then I'm going to position the pockets in relationship to those buttons and see how that goes. So first one, the bigger pocket is lined up along the bottom button, and there is another one on the other side also lined up, and the ticket pocket is around about this looks about the same, but I think it should be slightly smaller than the bottom pocket, so the flap is slightly smaller, not by much, but there it is. And then this, I'm going to come back to this and articulate the folds of the, you just have to watch and do it in a way that's convincing. So once you've done that, you need to have an understanding of how it drapes, and then try to make it look as elegant as possible, so it looks like a real drape. And then there are other bits of the coat that are hanging behind her and draped. Sometimes you want to simplify these things. If they get too crowded, too many lines, too much going on, you want to simplify it. So I don't think this is the case. I think we're good. And so this is the coat. You could articulate the shoulder a little better. It hangs off the shoulders. All right, so let's see. The bag has three-dimensionality to it. There's logo, and then you wanna, I'm coming back to the boot. So the boot here is 3/4 view of the foot. So you see a little bit of the heel, and then this is the angle that the foot is pointing towards you, us. And so the heel will be more behind the foot. This is the rough sketch, so I'm not going into minute details. So this is one, and then this foot is also turned slightly, but it's more like sideways. So once I have this rough shape, I could then get more precise idea of how this heel works. So I'm trying to define the surface that's facing the arch instep inside. This is also thicker, right? And then that's the surface of the heel that's we cannot see, right? But once I draw it in, it helps me understand how it's positioned in space. So now they're not equal, and I'm going to come back to this and refine it later. And then I'm going to draw a few breaks in the line because it's a fancy leather boot. It's crocodile or mock crocodile, I don't know. I think I need to correct this line a little bit. I think it goes more like this way. Right. So not perfect, but you correct yourself as you go. Oops. This is going to be your under drawing, so mistakes are okay, and you could see where you made them, and that's okay too. And then in the next layer of paper, you're going to eliminate the mistakes and make corrections. And for the head, I'm going to take a thinner pencil for her features to articulate her face a little bit. So the jaw, the ears, I generally draw like a little shadow for the mouth, tip of the nose, eyes lined up with ears. You could start small, you could always make them bigger later if that's necessary. And her hair is like swept back. There's a little detail on the side, detail on the side. And her hairline. Now right now her neck is very, very long. So in your correction you could always say, all right, neck a little shorter, maybe 1/4 inch shorter. So you don't forget. But the head is okay, I think. It's just the neck too long. So this is how you correct yourself. Make sure the color sits on her neck and not off. So there's no gaps here, so it kind of overlaps. Remember those lines that feed one into another? So there are no holes. Alright, and overall, this is your croquis. First draft. Alright? Alright, see ya.